Hello YouTube, Mike Kohanem here. Today I'm going to bring you an update to my Limit 1 Festival Gladiator Beast deck. I previously made a video about the Gladiator Beast deck that I was planning to use in the Limit 1 Festival before the event started. In this video, I'm going to separate it into two parts. In the first part of the video, I'm going to discuss the changes that I made to the deck and the reasons for making those changes as I began using the deck. And in the second part of the video, I'll show replays of myself using the deck and talk about the combos and strategies that the deck is capable of performing. Overall, the deck was pretty effective in the festival. I didn't keep track of my exact win ratio, but it certainly won a lot more than it lost. And I was able to get the 11,000 medals needed to claim all of the gems in the festival within the first 24 hours. So the deck was quick and efficient at collecting the gems available in the Limit 1 Festival, and without trying, I also completed all of the missions that were specific to the Limit 1 Festival. So if you're looking to just use Gladiator Beasts to have a good time in the Limit 1 Festival while collecting all of the rewards, I do recommend this deck, even though I do believe that there are other decks out there that would be technically stronger to use in the festival. If you haven't yet seen the video that I created about the deck I was planning to use going into the Limit 1 Festival before the festival actually began, I'll put a link to that video down in the description. And as always, if you enjoy this video or find the content in it useful, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It helps me assess which videos people are interested in and serves as great encouragement to me to create more videos like it. So as you can see, the Limit 1 Festival doesn't end until June 26th, and already I've gotten more than half of the medals needed to claim all of the rewards, and all of the medals needed to claim all of the gem rewards. I started the festival using the Gladiator Beast deck that I described in my previous Limit 1 Festival video, and as the festival progressed and as I began using the deck, I eventually fairly quickly added the Tri-Brigade Engine after seeing a lot of duelists use it and see how effective it actually worked. And as I know from experience, it integrates well into the Gladiator Beast strategy. I was a little surprised to see how well that engine actually worked with one-ofs of everything. But for setting up a first turn board or even breaking an opponent's field, it was actually pretty effective, and you really only need one copy of each of the Tri-Brigade cards to make it happen. Here's the deck that I ultimately ended up playing in the Limit 1 Festival. It was the final version of the deck as I collected the 11,000th medal to complete the gem portion of the event. If you look at the original deck list from the deck I was planning to use going into the festival and the deck that I started the festival with, you'll notice a bunch of changes. Initially, I noticed that the package of Reinforcement of the Army, Elemental Hero Stratos, and Elemental Hero Prisma wasn't as, plus a Hero Lives, which is the strongest card in the package, wasn't as powerful as I hoped it would be, but kind of as powerful as I expected it to be. So I did remove Reinforcement of the Army from the deck. Using it to just get a Stratos and normal summon the Stratos simply wasn't powerful enough, and the fact that the Reinforcement of the Army can only search for Stratos and Prisma really did not justify its presence in the deck. I also removed World Legacy Succession because I found it to be a bit situational, because it didn't allow me to start off my combos, which the deck was a little lackluster with. Because of the fact that everything was limited to one, and it required me to have a Link monster on the field to use it. So I saw it a little bit as a win more card that I really didn't think fit into the deck. I removed Gladiator Beast Octavius because when I initially built the deck, I felt that I needed the additional level 5 or higher monster in order to be able to more consistently and efficiently summon Gladiator Beast Tamer Editor, which I expected to be at the core of the strategy. As I played the deck, I realized I really did not need Octavius. Vespasius as a level 7 monster and Augustus were more than enough, along with Gladiator Beast Attorix, which can send in a pinch Sagittarii from the extra deck to the graveyard to copy its level. So really there were 3 cards I could tag into that would have a level 5 or that would be level 5 or higher, with Attorix not even needing a level 5 or higher in the main deck to make it work. So there were plenty of opportunities to special summon Tamer Editor if that was the play that I was going for. I removed Gladiator Nomaxia as well. I was kind of skeptical of the card when I first built the deck. I thought being able to recycle Gladiator Beasts may be useful in the Limited 1 Festival, but as I played the card, I found that it never really came up. I removed Cosmic Cyclone as well because I thought that back row cards, decks would be more back row heavy than they actually were. As I began to play, I realized that duelists weren't as reliant on back rows as they had been in previous festivals, so Cosmic Cyclone got cut. And finally, the 6th card that I cut was Torrential Tribute, a solid card, but I wanted to make room for other options. In their place, I included the whole Tri-Brigade package, which included Tri-Brigade Fraktall, Tri-Brigade Kitt, Tri-Brigade Kerass, Tri-Brigade Nervall, as well as Tri-Brigade Revolt, the trap card. I also included in the main deck the Wind Barrier statue because of changes I made to the extra deck, making room for Simorgh. As for the extra deck, I removed Gladiator's Dragosees, which I found I was never summoning, Avramax, which I also found I was never summoning, and I actually swapped Avramax for Access Code Talker at one point, thinking maybe that would be worthwhile and I might find that more useful, but ultimately that didn't make the cut either. I removed Gladiator's Neurochius from my deck, which I also found to be ineffective and I found myself never really going for, and I removed Gravity Controller, which I also felt I didn't need. This allowed me to make room for the Simorgh that I mentioned before, which can be used to summon the Wind Barrier statue, as well as Shureg and Rugal, 2 of the Tri-Brigade Link monsters that are key to the Tri-Brigade strategy, and Ancient Warrior's Oath Double Dragon Lords, which is a good Link 2 monster to summon with the effects of the Tri-Brigade monsters. With these changes that I made to the deck, I was pretty happy with where the deck ended up. My win ratio in the later duels of the Limit 1 Festival that I played was significantly higher than in the beginning, so I am very happy with the changes that I made to the deck. Before I show some of the replays, I'll just go over some of the key cards in the deck that perhaps performed better than I anticipated. I think first on that list is probably Gladiator Retiari. Banishing a card from the opponent's graveyard is always good, but there were actually a lot of cards that players were using that were very dependent on them being in the graveyard, and with those cards being limited to 1, removing it with Retiari was really good. Eldritch, the Golden Lord, comes to mind. I played against a number of opponents using the Eldritch Engine in their deck, and if you just banish the Golden Lord with Retiari, there's no way for them to summon the Golden Lord to the field, since everything is limited to 1. A Hero Lives was about as powerful as I expected it would be. The problem, of course, is it's limited to 1 and not searchable. Drawing Elemental Hero Stratos was not particularly effective. You really don't want to be wasting a normal summon on Stratos. Decks were a lot stronger than I kind of thought they would be going into the festival, so I thought initially that maybe normal summoning Stratos would be okay, but it turned out that using a normal summon for an 1800 attack monster that can be used as a Link or an Xyz material wasn't particularly powerful. There were plenty of combo decks in the tournament, or rather the festival, and plenty of decks that could make long strings of plays, and even OTK an opponent. This deck actually can also OTK, so this one really was right up there with those other decks, but Elemental Hero Stratos really was not. Prisma wasn't bad. I thought it was kind of cool that you can use its effect to send a Gladiator Beast to the graveyard and then special summon it with Comeback. It had a couple of other synergies as well. You could bring the card back with Monster Reborn. As always, you can use Test Tiger after changing Prisma's name to match the name of a Gladiator Beast. So it had a lot of cool things about it. But really, the power play is summoning it with A Hero Lives to get it on the field, have it send a card to the grave, imitate a Gladiator's name without even using a normal summon. Archnemeses Protos was pretty powerful as well. A little bit harder to summon than I expected it to be, given the wide variety of attributes in the deck. But when it hit the field, it was extremely effective, so I did not cut it. I really liked the Utopia double and double or nothing combo, which I talked about in my previous video. It's especially cool in this festival because it happens so quickly. It's a one-of card in the main deck. It requires 2 cards in the extra deck, 2 slots in the extra deck. And if you see that there's the opportunity there to just defeat your opponent by using this combo, you can just do it and win. And in an event like this that really just counts wins for scoring, because you get medals for winning, 500 medals for winning, 50 for losing, if you can win quickly, that's especially good if your goal is to get as many gems as possible in the festival. As for win ratios as well, I won plenty of duels with Utopia and Utopia double, using double or nothing. So even if your goal is to win the highest percentage of duels, I would still recommend it. With all of that said, the deck uses the basic Gladiator strategies, Tri-Brigade strategies, and this Utopia double combo. I'll put links to some of my previous videos where I explain the Tri-Brigade combos and the Gladiator Beast combos for the Master Duel Advanced format, in case you're unfamiliar with them. But from here on, I'm going to show you some of the duels that I had in the festival that highlight the strength of this deck and some of the plays that it can make. So I'll play these duels in the order that I played them in the festival. So some of the older duels will be older versions of the deck, so you may notice cards that I had cut in later versions. We'll accelerate it to move it a bit forward. My opponent's playing the Tri-Brigade Engine here, and it's pretty hilarious that he uses Fraktall and I have my 1 copy of Ash Blossom turn 1, so it's starting to look like an advanced format duel. But in any case, I normal summon Glad, special summon Test Tiger, make the Panther, get Comeback, bring back Laquari, search for special summon Augustus, use its effect to special summon Attorix. That lets me make Tamer Editor and use its effect to summon Dominatianus. I can then link summon the Unicorn to get the Tamer Editor off of the field so that I can use Monster Reborn to special summon the Tamer Editor, and then use Tamer Editor's effect again, this time to summon Heraklinos. So that already is over 8,000 points of damage, and I actually win this duel on my first turn, going second. Initially in the festival, I actually wasn't sure whether I preferred to go first or second. As I played more, I gravitated toward a preference of going second. As decks are, generally in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, when decks are weaker, going second is a bit stronger because the extra card is more valuable and you have more time to use that extra card. So in a format where every card is limited to 1, that's what I ultimately ended up with deciding. But this hand is far from strong. Normal summon Stratos set Nomaxia is no spectacular play. But my opponent just shoots off the Maxx right away. So I can easily just avoid special summoning while using Prisma's effect to get some Gladiator Beasts into the graveyard. Let's accelerate the duel. He summons a Kaiju to my field so that he can summon 1 to his own. And then Synchro Summon Baron de Fleur. Nomaxia's effect actually doesn't do anything because it protects Gladiator Beasts on my field, which I had none of, but he negated it anyway with Baron de Fleur. Had he not done that, I would have used Raigeki here, which he then would have negated. But this duel was a good display of Utopia double, because I'm able to Exceed summon it by using any 2 level 4 monsters, use the effect to search for double or nothing and summon Utopia with 5,000 attack, then attack with Utopia, use Utopia's effect to negate its own attack, and double or nothing so my attack points hit 10,000. 10,000 attack points into Baron de Fleur's 3,000 attack points means 7,000 points of damage to my opponent, which ends the duel right there. So that was a really good display of that combo if you're unfamiliar with it, how easy it is to pull off, and how quickly you can make it happen. There are a lot of high impact cards here, like Lightning Storm against 3 back rows. With everything limited to 1, there's a lot of variability. So luck is going to play a pretty big factor in it. In this version of the deck, I still played Reinforcement of the Army, which I'm able to use to get Prisma, which is not the worst thing in the world. I use it to dump Vespasius, which is listed as a fusion material on Tamatianis, and then I can reborn it to link summon Test Panther and get Gladiator's Comeback. Using the standard Gladiator Beast combos, I'm able to summon Tamer Editor, use this effect to special summon Domitianus, link summon Nightmare Unicorn to get rid of his face-down monster, and then use World Legacy Succession to bring back the Tamer Editor linked to the Unicorn so that I can summon Heraclinos to the field. Obviously, since you can't get 2 copies of Domitianus because there's only 1 allowed in the deck, you're typically going to go for Domitianus and then Heraclinos when you perform the typical Gladiator Beast combos. Looks like I'm playing in Sword Soul in this deck, in this match. I was kind of surprised to see Sword Soul as such a popular deck where everything's limited to 1, but I ran into it quite a few times. And in this duel, he begins with Xishao and Baron de Fleur, so it's almost like I'm playing against an advanced format deck. But this hand's pretty good. I use Mind Control and Baron de Fleur. He has no choice but to negate it. And then I can pay half my life points to summon Prisma with a Hero Lives. He chooses to negate its effect, but Prisma sends the card to the grave as a cost, so it's still in there. I'm then able to summon Laquari, which he destroys using Blackout, but then I can use Gladiator Beast United to special summon Geyserus by fusing the 2 monsters from the grave, which then lets me still destroy the Baron de Fleur, attack directly, tag out, links special summon Tamer Editor with the tag in monsters, and then use it to special summon Domitianus. As you can tell, I put Tamer Editor in the extra monster zone so I can summon Gravity Controller, which allowed me to resurrect the Tamer Editor to bring out Heraclinos as well. Heraclinos negates the Raigeki, leaving me in pretty good shape. He ends up summoning Archnemeses Protos, and although it destroys the Domitianus, he's still not able to retaliate. I open with a Hero Lives in this duel again. Hero Lives is really strong in this deck. Drawing it's really nice, but the question is how many elemental hero monsters does it really justify playing? Or rather, justify playing a Hero Lives. So it looks like I'm playing against some sort of link-centered special summoning strategy here. I use a Hero Lives to summon Prisma, change its name into Bestiari, to try to Geyserus him ultimately. I make Test Panther to get the comeback. I can then special summon a monster from my graveyard. He uses Called by the Grave on the Bestiari, so I can't get Bestiari at all. I end up actually going for Murmillo. Unfortunately, with Augustus at 1, if you draw it, you don't have 1 to pull from your deck, so that's problematic. But I am able to tag out for a Wing Beast and then link summon the Smorg. He does all of his special summons in main phase 2 before the Wind Barrier statue comes out, but then I use Raigeki and clear his field before bringing out the Wind Barrier statue. He has his own Raigeki, but I use Solemn Judgment to negate it. Even though he destroys the barrier statue, in his end phase, Simorg's effect activates again, so I can get a quest from the deck. And once again, I'm going to show you the Utopia double combo. I just summon a monster, exceeds summon Utopia double, uses effect to get double or nothing from the deck, double the attack of Utopia, and from there I'm able to attack, use double or nothing to, after negating my own attack, to double its attack points again, and attack with 10,000 attack points. My opponent conceded before it could happen, but ultimately that was a double or nothing victory. Drawing double or nothing in your opening hand is horrible because it cuts you off from being able to use Utopia double effectively, and is just a completely dead card in your hand unless you're just exceed summoning number 39 Utopia. So that's certainly not where you want to be. Once again, the pretty high impact Feather Dusters here against 2 back rows, but he actually plays his own Feather Duster and is able to stop it with Crossout Designator. I'm able to just summon Kitt and attack. It's honestly not the worst play. If he gets rid of the Kitt, my Tri-Brigade Engine's online. So the Tri-Brigade Engine is really powerful. But I summon a Gladiator Beast, link summon Test Panther, and that sends Kitt to the graveyard, which lets me send Nervall to the graveyard, which lets me search for Fraktall. And just like that, the Tri-Brigade Engine's already online. I special summon Attorix with Comeback. And I use its Panther's effect to summon Augustus, setting up the Tamer Editor. He tries to stop me with Nibiru, but loses out to Solemn Warning. Tamer Editor's effect brings out Geysiris, which clears his field and lets me tag out. I should have put the Tamer Editor in attack position so that it could have attacked as well, although it ultimately did not make a difference. I actually get Retiari to banish the Tragedy, since he had already used one of its effects that turn. I was able to banish it without triggering its other effect. And after link summoning Simorg, Bird of Sovereignty, I'm able to special summon Tamer Editor back from the graveyard so that I can then special summon Domitianus. So he was in a pretty big lock, but had the Lightning Storm to kill my attack position monsters. But since he couldn't deal with the Tamer Editor on my field, I was able to just summon Geysiris, and although he could negate its effect, it's still a powerful summon to the field, and then Fraktall's effect was able to summon Shureg, which was able to just banish one of his cards. And that alone lets me put enough attack points on the field to finish him off. So as you can see in that duel, the Tri-Brigade Engine, which is really just a couple of cards in the main deck, really helps to supplement the Gladiator Beast Engine. And while it is primarily a Gladiator Beast deck, as you can tell by the focus of the deck's construction and the number of Gladiator Beasts in the deck, having that extra strength from the Tri-Brigade Engine really helps out, and I think it does greatly improve the deck. My opponent has a weak hand here, just sending one card to the back row and passing. I activate Rejection, summon Prisma, and I actually change his name to Bestiari, and he chooses to Chalice then and there, because had he not used Chalice there, he couldn't target the Prisma with Chalice, since its name would have been a Gladiator Beast due to Rejection. But I attack with Prisma and Bestiari, which gives me the tag out. I tag in Augustus, use this effect to summon Attorix, use Rejection's effect to summon Vespasius, and my field is flooded at this point. So I summon Tamer Editor, use it to summon Domitianus, I use Test Panther's effect, I get Comeback, I bring back the Tamer Editor, special summon Heraklinos, use Panther's effect to special summon Equeste, which is a winged beast, and allows me to link summon Simorg, Bird of Sovereignty. So this is basically as well as I could possibly start. Without OTKing my opponent, because Simorg brings out the barrier statue, and he can't special summon, and I can negate a monster effect, and I can negate any number of spells or traps equal to the number of cards in my hand with Heraklinos. He does have Forbidding Droplet, but not nearly enough cards to actually overcome this field, and he's forced to surrender. So that's my Limit 1 Festival Gladiator Beast Tri-Brigade deck. I'll put the deck list down in the description so that if you want to try out the deck for yourself, it'll be easy for you to do so. There's still plenty of time left in the festival if you want to use it. I found it to be a fun deck to use. I particularly enjoy Gladiator beasts, so this was the right deck for me for this festival. If you like this video, again, I would really appreciate if you like it on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. I use the feedback to encourage me to make more videos in the future and guide me as to what particular type of video I should make.